What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 17 of the TheDuoQ podcast. I'm Rev. That's Socks.
Was good.
Let's get into this. First off, obviously it's Saturday. We're gonna go over the 2 days of matches and then get into a little fun stuff. I got a 100T vault box. We're gonna do a little opening. I haven't seen nothing yet, so hopefully we got some good shit. To start out with, the first match of yesterday was Cloud9 and LAG. I didn't catch this match. This was the only match on Friday that I did not catch. Actually, really surprised because Cloud9 in the minor looked like they were turning up. Speaking of which, we do have to cover the minor. FaZe won that. Big surprise, actually.
FaZe.
Yeah. I don't like them. Matter of fact, fuck FaZe. I don't care. It's an online tourney. Don't matter. Whatever. Optic obviously lost to Ravens. I was really hoping that Ravens would pull it out. The fact that it was a best of 5 was bullshit. If you're gonna make a tournament, it can't be best of 5, even though it's already single elim. Don't make it a best of 5. We already talked about some of the problems going on in the minor tournament, so we're not gonna go over all the stupid problems they were having over there. From the stat sheet, it looks like Priest actually turned out. It actually looked like he turned up a bit. It was a quick series, 3-0. I mean, it was close. It was close, but not close enough, obviously. It was still a 3-0. So moving on to the next one, I believe, was Vegas and Optic. And the first part of this Vault Hardpoint looked like it was going to be over after map 1. I mean, the first half of this game was ridiculous. It looked like nothing like the minor tournament. It just was a slaughter, to be honest. And they made a little run, but eventually Optic came back.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. As much shit as everyone's talked about Vegas and like how shit they're gonna be,
Yeah.
they're taking maps off. Like they're taking S&Ds. They match against Optic. They lost 3-2. Still a close match. They're
3-1.
playing teams close.
It was 3-1.
No, the control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Control,
overall
right.
series.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're playing teams close. Like it's not like they're getting blown the fuck out. I don't see them winning a match, first major split, but they're gonna win one this year.
I'm gonna be real here. The match looks close. It really wasn't.
I mean, not when you have players dropping .7s.
It's not even that. I mean, in the first hard point, Optic was off to such a lead that they actually did not care anymore. I mean, they were joking and laughing in the cams, like they weren't taking it seriously at all.
Oh, no.
Dashi, I believe it was Dashi, said that the only reason they won the S&D, obviously people are going to say, he's going to say the only reason they won the S&D was for this purpose. But the only reason they won the S&D is because they played it super fucking weird. I mean, that happens. I mean, you go up against a team that just plays something so weird. It's a brand new team. You'd probably never scrim them.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks weird the way they played it. And it worked out for them. Good for them. The rest of the series, however, did not work out for them. I think after a little Hasi cheese, that Skyline was just a slaughter fest. I don't know why you're picking Skyline against Optic. It's not going to work out well unless you're a different team that plays Optic. It looked like in the beginning Xnid was on par for a generational game, but the game just got flipped on its head. He turned on Hook. That was disgusting. I mean, Xnid's got a gunny.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And Kick's got a gunny. You just need to get them back on the same team. And the rest of these guys are not shooters. You got to figure out what to do. But
I think
Xnid has been stepping it up a lot.
I think out of the group that they brought over, even having just 2 people that can actually shoot is a win for them right now.
Yeah, they just got to get them in the same building. Unfortunately, Cakes has some personal problems or
Personal
whatever is
issues.
going on, so that's unfortunate. Um, the difference in our picks this weekend was all down to Rocker versus Ultra, and you picked Ultra, or I'm sorry, you picked Rocker, and I picked Ultra. I saw them not getting beaten again by Rocker.
But
Insight,
it was close though. One game five.
yeah, no, it did, it did. Insight played his usual role, least damage, least engagements, doing his thing. Um, Estriel looked final again. Like, I swear, he looked ridiculous. Nero looked bad today. 108 deaths. It was not good for him. Paul X. I know he was sick the past week, so that probably has something to play into what happened today. But he wasn't playing too good. I was actually getting nervous because Joe Deceives a couple of times was not showing up. Especially any time that Zuma put money on him, he just didn't show up. It was bad. I was worried because I don't want my fantasy players to get costed by Zuma bets. Uh, no, but it was a really close and really good series. Every time you see these two teams play together, it's a really good series. I mean, let alone the fact that Rocker goes to map 5 no matter who they play anyways. It's a good showing out of them to prove that they can stick with some of these top teams. I got a lot of faith in Rocker this season. So, I just want to see
Yeah.
what they can do next. Hopefully, Paul X comes back and starts picking it up to where he left off. If not, I'd be a little worried. I'd be a little worried. Probably make a change in there for someone like Alec. But right now, this team looks pretty good. They just got to stop going to map fives. If they can close it out in 4, that'd be the best. I mean, they look really good in search until it comes down to clutch time. I mean, they got packed up 6-0 bad here. So
Yeah,
that
it's not
wasn't fun
good.
to see, but it was a good series outside of that. Um, Again, on to the next one.
You
And
want me you want me to just intro it? Just run through them?
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Alright, so on to Saturday's matches. We had Vancouver versus Vegas. Like I said, Vegas wasn't looking horrible, like god awful, but
Yeah,
obviously, it's Vancouver at the end of the day. They Vancouver won 3-1. Not really much to talk about. Edson was shooting, everyone else wasn't.
yeah. I mean, Waxel had kills. He just didn't have a lot of engagements, to be honest. Um, he was doing his thing today. I mean, he was doing his thing. They just lost worse than they lost before. In the first 2 weeks of the game, they only won one map against FaZe. And, the second week, or the next 2 weeks, they won back-to-back maps off of each series. So hopefully they, start rising. I just don't have any faith in this team whatsoever. I mean, I believe you say Dahum is how you pronounce his name instead of Doom. He doesn't look very good. Roxas, Roxas, he's bad. I'm just gonna leave it like that. He's bad. I didn't watch the series. Did you watch any of the series today?
I did.
Okay, you're gonna have to carry this side of it then, because I was
Yeah,
fixing my car.
I watched all of the series today. We had a few bets, a few parlays going on them. Um, we had a boozer for, I believe it was over 58 kills for match 1, 2, 3. That bang.
Surprising,
Um, yeah, it was close.
surprising. Abuza hasn't looked too good the first few weeks of the season, so hopefully he can step it up a little bit more.
Yeah,
To be honest, 04 also not playing to his potential right now. This whole roster is just a little shaky right now. Coming into it, I thought Hicksy was not a good piece for this team just because he can't slay, and it's looked like that throughout the season. He's consistently not slaying. He's being consistent at least, which is more than I
Yeah.
can say for any of his teammates. But they just needed someone else at that second sub spot because you can't trust O4 to have really good hardpoint series. I'm really surprised that they took the search off them though. They might just be playing really weird and playing different than all these other teams are playing, which wouldn't surprise me, seeing as how I don't really expect these other teams giving them the time of day to scrim them.
Look,
So
the one thing I do gotta say about Falcons, they may not be winning maps, matches, but these motherfuckers got passion.
they got a little too much passion.
Ethnid especially. They took that S&D off Optic, and that boy was standing up, throwing his headset around.
I'm gonna be real. They got a
And he
little
did the
too
same
much
today.
passion. They got a little too much passion. They're like I don't know what they're saying, bro, but they're saying too much. Is all I know. Like the listening on Friday was just screaming and
Yeah,
everyone screaming
it's
all at
very
the same
loud,
time.
not controlled or anything like
It
that.
was ridiculous. I think JCap said something about that too. It's not a good listening. It doesn't sound like the first 2 weeks it was like passion, but it was like enough. I think they need kicks back in there. I really do. If this team gets him back, hopefully he comes back. I think they can actually take maps to five or take teams to five. I think they can beat a Seattle team. I'm gonna
Oh
be real.
yeah,
I think they can beat a Seattle team. If Seattle doesn't start playing up to their what they should be playing up to. And another surprising match. I mean, you probably have Cloud9 and Heretics in about the same tier. Even
that
though in
middle
the
to bottom tier.
yeah, just like a cool C, just because of the start that Cloud9 has gotten out to. They outslayed by a lot, and they still lost. Surprisingly, even though the first hard point was really close, and the second hard point was not close at all. They got blown out of the water. Usually, when you see teams outslaying other teams, it's pretty simple. Like Parasite says, if you see a team outslaying the other team, check what maps they won. If the team that won both the searches, that's probably the reason. But while they did win both the searches, the second hard point was a blowout bad, and the first was
Yeah,
really close. So they should have been on par, and they weren't. I don't know what's going on with this team. I have no idea. Also, didn't watch today. All I know is super disappointing out of what was supposed to be a top three roster. I mean, ridiculously disappointing. I'm sure there's a tweet out there that said put about the servers or something like that, but at a certain point, you can't just blame the servers for losing to the fucking heretics. You're better. Everyone on your team is better than everyone on their team. It's not really close at all. I mean, it's not funny. The skill diff is there, but you just can't win maps against a terrible team. So I don't have much faith for Cloud9. Something's gonna happen. Sib actually went positive, which is surprising. But something's got to change. Max, your best player on this team. That's not necessarily
that's my fantasy
surprising.
player right there.
It's not that surprising necessarily because Mac in the beginning of his career was very slay heavy and got off put to a role that didn't suit him. So I'm not surprised by him coming back and being their best player, except for the fact that Sib is on the team. Sib needs to
Mhm.
step it up. He did today, it looks like, but not enough. They gotta win searches, and they're just not. I mean, you got Attach and Kremp on your team. There's no reason why you can't win a search. So I'm a bit disappointed. with this team. So we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty if you're a New York fan.
Yeah, and then you got the Boston Breach versus Royal Ravens. Um,
Giving Carolina their first loss.
no, they are not because FaZe did. They gave them the first league match loss. Yes.
I hate you.
Slasher did not show up at all today. I know that because he
No.
had 3K damage less than anybody in this lobby. Oh man, Slasher did not play well today. It
Flasher has 69 kills over 4 maps.
Cammy fried and Purge fried. Purge being the best on this team and dropping 115 kills is
13.
ridiculous. I can't see properly. My bad. I have it small windowed.
Yeah, it was 113. Honestly, Purge just had one of them pop off series.
I'm glad he did, and I'm glad it was not his like first. You know, he's been showing out on this team before. Every player on this team besides Big Wake has been showing out. Really, I'm not surprised that they beat Royal Ravens. They're a good team. They're a really solid team. I'm surprised that teams are so handedly taking Royal Ravens hard points now, because originally they weren't. And after that break where they were scrimming all these challengers teams and losing a lot of hard points, it was kind of my opinion that like this team with Slasher and Tej, they're probably trying things out in scrims, so don't take that too seriously.
Mhm.
But now, they've lost
Now,
a lot of hard points, and it's not looking good, especially after being so insane at that game mode. If they can't figure it out, there's going to be a big problem because you can't get blown out this bad by Boston. I get it. They're also a good team, but the point where we had Ravens ranked, you can't be losing to these teams this
definitely
bad in a
not.
hard point. So, a little disappointed by that. Um,
Little question though, before we continue.
okay.
If you know, if Ravens continues on this trajectory of keeping it close but like losing and just getting blown out, is Vivid the one
Yes.
to be moved?
Yes.
But who are you? If you're the GM, who are you moving him for?
Who am I moving him for? Illy. It's not a debate. I'm moving him for Illy.
Yoda.
No, he went back to 20K likes, bro. He hit it. He's not Yoda no more. Don't say that ever again, please. Let's forget about this.
Shout out Yoda King.
Even though Cowboy stole his fucking at, and I was, yeah, I think he should go to the Pope. To be honest,
That would be a cool name.
I think with this team you pick up Illy. I think with this team you pick up Illy.
I think it's the clear senses that Ellie's the next person to get picked up.
Look, I get that Vivid originally was playing pretty well. Um, the only problem now is that he can't really switch to a third sub in a lot of these maps sometimes, and that's what they really need.
Yeah.
Um, if they're gonna play with this team, they need to pick maps where Vivid can consistently switch to a third sub. In this game, the sub is better. Let's just put it straight. I've never said this before. The sub is better,
Yeah.
but the AR takes less skill to use. I think the game is kind of benefiting Vivid in a way because he shouldn't be as good as he has been on an AR. Period. He's not an AR player, bro. He's a sub. He can play AR in challengers because he's not a challengers tier player, and I think he kind of got it in his head that he was good enough to be an AR player. I just don't think that's a good play style for him. If he's not on a sub, he shouldn't be on a team, and I think that's the replacement. There's a few ARs you could consider picking him up for. Realistically, the best option is Illy. Especially if you're already good at search. You know what I'm saying? Like, just solidify the fact that you can take games off of really good teams by winning bowl searches. I think you go down that route. I think this roster is huge. I think they're phenomenal. I think this is Tej's best year in his career. besides World War II. I think you really need to consider either swapping. I can't even say that. At the beginning of the season, my opinion was to have Tej on the AR as a flex, like he has been before, and then Vivid as the sub to help Gwyn get in a lot of scenarios. And I think that could still work if they tried it, do an LAT sort of thing, switch that, see what happens. And I hope they try to do that before they drop Vivid, just to see what happens. But
Mhm.
I think that the way they go about it is dropping Vivid. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to make a decision soon enough for it to matter.
I
I
think Ellie gets picked up before then.
You think Illy gets picked up before then? See, my
Oh
opinion
yeah.
is, I think this team might go to Major 2. With the success that they've had, I think they're going to get. I think they're a little bit drunk off of it. And now that they're falling, I think that they'll have a chance right here. I think that they should keep losing so that they can see that it's not good enough. But if they start winning, I think that the roster lasts a little too long. I don't see this ending up good for them unless they make a decision sooner than later. And I think you try the role swap immediately. I think you try that role swap immediately. Even though TJ is having one of his best years, it's going to sound crazy to say. I think you just try it to try it. Because you can't have Vivid being left out like that. There is something to say about Gwyn, too. Gwyn, in the first 2 weeks, was top 5 player. Slasher was in the conversation. Recently, Gwyn hasn't shown up a lot. And I think if you have Vivid running next to him and running in front of him, I think he'll start showing up a lot more.
Yeah.
I think realistically, yes, TJ has been having his best year since World War II. He looks phenomenal, and he's cooking, and he's taken a rise in his own bubble. I put him up in player tier list. But you should always activate your best player before anything else. And I think the only way to activate Gwyn properly is to get Vivid on a sub. I mean, you look at what Kleenex and Joe are doing. Kleenex had to slow down for Joe Deceives, and then he
Mhm.
started cooking more than he's cooked before. So just to see how that works, you need a playmaker running point, and you need the person who's the best at getting kills right behind him, and that's Gwyn and Vivid. Um, I think that TJ is having, again, same thing. He's doing phenomenal, but he's not your best Slayer,
No, not at all.
and he shouldn't be propped up to be. Put him on a flex, see what he can do, because I'm sure that all of his skill doesn't dissipate after he throws on an AR. And I think the team benefits. But if you want to drop Vivid, drop Vivid. Either way.
I think I 100% agree with you that CJ is having one of his best years since fucking World War II.
Mm.
I don't think there's any denying that. Um, but that that you think that Carolina's keeping Vivid on until at least Major 2. If they were to make a change, it would not be for Illy, just because Illy would not be on the board. I don't see Illy staying in challenges after Major 1.
I slightly disagree with you, to be honest, because in my opinion, the teams that are wide open for an Illy swap are Seattle and Rocker. Rocker's winning. They're not going to drop Paul X just because he's sick. And after they've seen him perform, Nasty just carried his team to a W, and they've had all inconsistencies around the board. Even when you think about a team like Cloud9, they're not dropping Attach or Sib. I just think whatever way you spin it, I just don't see a lot of teams in a position for themselves to say we need Illy now and this is a clear replacement, because a lot of these teams, the funny thing is they didn't intentionally do this season. They tried building super teams and whatever the fuck. This is a really balanced year.
Oh,
This
100%.
is a super balanced year, and everyone team built pretty well. To be honest, everyone team
Yeah.
built pretty well. I was really surprised because nowadays you see teams just try to form super teams, try to get the best talent, rotate talent in and out and in and out. I don't see it like that. Even a team like Boston, where Big Wake is the worst player on the team by far, they're still winning games, and he's playing like a main AR. Illy isn't a main AR, and I'm not sure that he would do that role better. So that's, in my opinion, what I'm saying is like I don't see any of these teams thinking that they have a major flaw at one spot, unless you're Miami or Vegas, and they're not making a change for Illy. We already know that's not happening.
Well, Miami just got the visa approved for Super. Super.
Yeah, exactly. So Super's definitely going to come in from Miami, and they weren't going to pick up a non-Spanish player anyways. Vegas is not picking up a non-Arabic speaking teammate. Like,
I get what you mean. How the only two teams that you would consider to make a move are the region-based teams.
yeah, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, FaZe had its one downfall, and then they won something, so that's not happening either.
Yeah, I think that if FaZe doesn't win that minor and they go out like early, like first, second round,
Yeah,
they really consider making the switch.
and I think if they keep playing the same way up to Major One, I think they make that change too, which is why I put on the timeline. I think that if anybody makes a trade or a change for Illy, it's going to be FaZe because they have connections with him. They all came up with him, and the
Hmm.
people performing the worst on their team is Draza and Cell. That doesn't happen to be the case anymore, so that's not going to happen. I don't see anybody getting picked up very soon, to be honest. I think most of these teams feel pretty comfortable with their odds at winning, which
Yeah,
has not happened before.
looking at the standings right now, it's very even across the whole league
I will say
as far
this.
as like talent wise.
I will say this. If anybody besides them, I'm sorry, besides Carolina, were to make a swap for Illy, it would be LAG for Priesta.
I
The
can
only
see that.
problem with that is they have a lot of chemistry and whatever. Even if everyone thinks that they should make the change, they're just not going to. It's
It
gonna
would be
take a
another phase
while.
situation.
It's gonna take a while for them to drop Priesta. I mean, they love Priesta. They all have the utmost faith in a guy who, sorry to say it, hasn't been doing shit for years. Um, it is what it is. I just don't think any of these teams are going to swap. They're all really confident.
Nah, so just looking at the standings, seeing that we only have two undefeated teams left, and like you said, it's a very balanced year, and I'm here for it. I'm happy with that. We have competitive fucking a competitive league.
Yeah,
I'm tired of having just top three, top four.
yeah. Um, I mean, it's really competitive, and there was a point being made that maybe it was more competitive due to the fact that there was a lot less skill involved in this game. I think Parasite was making the comparison of you just really have to run in this game, and that's all you have to think about is just running and breaking, swarming hills and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't disagree with him. The way the maps are set up, the way the guns work, it's not like old COD anymore. So I think we're seeing a lot of similarities around the board. That being said, um, when it comes to optic, when it comes to optic, I'm actually really worried, as a lot of fans are. Fans are tweaking though. Fans are saying like drop hook, pick Pred back up. That's not happening. Right? It's really not happening.
Fred's not coming back.
Pred's not coming back. I wish him well. Whatever happened, it probably wasn't good. Hook is a good player, and I think Hook works better with these teammates around him, with Dashy, with Shotzi. The one thing I'm concerned about is how fast Kenny can get back in rhythm, because at the beginning of the years, you see Kenny fall flat a lot.
Hmm.
And it happens every year. Kenny will show up in a game every few games, but his search is never good, and his hard point lacks somewhat throughout the year. He does a lot of important stuff. I'm not going to take that away from him, but in a lot of scenarios, Kenny needs to be better. Um, so I'm hoping he can step it up a little sooner. That way we aren't, out of Major 1 early, out of Major 2 early. It's worrying to me because Kenny has these slow starts, and Hook is known to be a lot better online than he is on LAN. So to know that that's happening the early season is a little worrisome for Optic. So we'll hope for the best, but who knows what happens at this point. All right.
I think.
Okay.
Let me just get this out and
Yep.
then we can move on. I understand your worries with Kenny. Obviously, the numbers ain't lying right now. He's got a .8 in S&D.
Yeah.
The other modes, they're there. He's got a .91 right now. 42nd in the league as far as overall KD.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think the only reason why Kenny, well, not the only reason, but for the majority of the reason why Kenny is still on Optic is that he is the person holding this team together.
Yeah. I agree. He's glue. He's glue for sure. But when it comes down to the Ravens, and us playing them in the minor, you saw Shotzi get 5 first bloods map 5, and nobody there to back him up, and Dashy is frying. I mean, frying. Hook has pop off series, and you still lose, and you're still losing maps in a place where Shotzi and Dashy are two of the best S&D players in the league, and Hook is also up there in every game mode. It's a little worrying when everyone is frying besides Kenny and something's still going wrong. So just a little bit of a worry out of there. Hopefully FaZe doesn't continue to look how they have in the past week, because that would be bad, and we don't want FaZe to be good, because we hate FaZe over here.